Hey, Will, can you tell us what chapter we're on?
What do you mean by chapter?
Like what story we're going to see, or is that part of?
Well, this is the first half of episode 4.
Okay.
So last episode 3 was a bit of a breakaway with the children.
Okay, that's right. I remember.
So this is coming back to Simon in his debt and his hardship and spying on the merchant fleet. This opening scene is him spying on the merchant fleet with the Romans. So he's crumbling in his debt, and then eventually more problems arise with this. And then Matthew, as we know, Matthew was sent to ask Quintus directly about if he was telling the truth about spying on the merchant fleet. So more happens with him, with Matthew, and with Simon, and then Jesus comes in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
No sound.
There's no sound, babe.
Does that sound?
Mm-mm.
That is I think that's a rookie mistake. Sorry. There's this nice big button when you share the screen that says share sound. So I'm gonna keep playing it where it is. It's just the creaking of the boat until he starts to speak.
Slow down. Slow down.
What is it?
It's a fishing bobber.
So?
So, that means we're close.
Good job.
Hard to port! What? This way! Romans.
Stupid sea rat.
Oh, you hit a sandbar. Why are you not listening to me? I told you to go this way. Accident, nothing to be. Accidents happen, boys. Nothing to be ashamed of.
There's no accident. You know the sea better than anyone. That's why you smell of it. I want you to remember this, Simon, son of Jonah. This is kindness. Quintus, on the other hand, is capable of savage violence against those who betray him. If I could hold him off for a week, perhaps. Think of Eden.
If you even walk down the same road,
Make good on your promises, dog.
for coming, Zebedee.
Oh, the boys didn't have to twist my arm too hard to get me to have a drink. Is that business or pleasure?
And this? No, ran out of bait. Figured I'd give my ear a try.
Maybe someone didn't like your sense of humor. Why are we here, Simon?
I made a deal with the Romans.
Romans? Simon,
Say anything about any deal to us, Sabah.
you see the wound? Doesn't look like Simon gave them what they wanted, does it? Use your brains. Go on.
I owe taxes.
We all do.
A lot. They were set to take the boat, our houses,
Or?
give up a fleet fishing on Shabbat.
You knew about this?
Thank you for your honesty, Simon. If I may return the favor, I'm shocked you'd even show your face here, much less ask me to join you.
I won't argue that. I'm trapped, but puts me in a valuable position.
Really? Now tell me, what's the value of a dead traitor?
I'm not a traitor.
You're finished on the docks, Simon.
Leave him. Come on, Abba.
I know their plans, Zebedee. They're coming for you.
They're playing you, kid. Sorry, I can't help it.
You fished the Gergesa ashore last night.
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. You dock 6 ships. Pretty soon, everyone in the hammer knows where you were. What they can't tell you is where I'll be next time.
There was only 3 ships, Zebedee. I was practically in your wake with some soldiers. Many more waiting on shore for you to offload.
How did he make it out of there?
I made sure the boat had an unfortunate accident, then lost part of my wife's frigadier.
Thanks, friend.
No, don't thank him. He chose to deal with Rome. So what was your play gonna be, huh? Are you shopping around for an ally? Someone to take you on in exchange for turning over his competitors?
No, it's way stupider than that.
I want you to turn over your catch.
What did he say?
Wait, turn it over to who?
To me. Then you stay off the sea on Shabbat. For a while, anyway. I could tell Quintus the problem is solved.
This is pointless. He's right.
It's just one night's work.
40 nights. One for every man that made the sacrifice to be away from his family.
And all 40 went home in the morning because of me.
Yes, Simon, because you couldn't bear it if you ruined us as you ruined yourself. We owe you a great debt for that. But I cannot repay you by stealing food from the mouths of my men. I'm sorry.
Matthew, the tax collector, Brutal.
Fruit here is incredible. Pomegranates, dates, figs, berries, the olives. Everything that grows here is immaculate. Except the people. You're such a miserable lot. You worship one God, and yet you're all divided. You see, people complain we Romans run the world, but I know a dirty secret. You people want to be ruled. You want an excuse to complain. It's part of your nature. Do you understand that, Matthew?
I don't know.
No, you wouldn't. Oh, you're a single-minded machine. These things are beneath you. Where's your escort?
He didn't want to enter. He feels that my lack of social grace
He
is...
thinks you'll get him killed.
Yes.
Not today, Matthew, no. Today, I am in need. And you heard me right. I am in need of your machine.
My machine?
Your mind, Matthew, keep up. You might have been right about Simon. He double-crossed me. Maybe. Probably. Truth is, I don't have many seaworthy troops here. It might have been an accident.
Dominus?
Follow Simon. I want to know where he goes, with whom he meets. Tell me what they're talking about, what he's drinking. Anything.
The latter may prove difficult. In fact, all of what you request, Dominus, may prove difficult.
But you're a resourceful man. Goal-oriented.
I'm not accepted
Where?
anywhere. I'm a tax collector.
Viewed with jealousy.
Hated. Everyone hates tax collectors. We're worse than the Romans. You were born Roman. I made the choice.
So go in disguise, I don't care. You can write, can't you?
Yes?
Write everything, every detail. Is your booth protected?
Yes, Dominus. My dog guards it while I'm away.
Oh, Matthew, you are a priceless treasure. Of course you have a dog.
I saw it with my own eyes. The line stretched from the edge of the Jordan into the acacia groves as far as the eye could see. All of them awaiting an immersion in the river by a loud man in camel skin.
And not for purification?
He called it a baptism of repentance, a forgiveness of sin.
What exactly did he say? Have you seen him before?
I have not. That is what he said. Rabbi, is there precedent for this?
What of his speech?
Rabbi?
His words. The message. Did he advocate rabbinic law? Did he call for revolution, violence?
Not violence. But I haven't told you the worst part. One of our own approached him, and he called all of us snakes.
Us?
Yes, religious leaders.
Snakes?
He ranted like a madman about how worthless we were.
What else?
What else? What could be worse than that?
It depends on who he is.
He told tax collectors and soldiers not to extort money or collect more than they're authorized to.
They were present as he said this?
Yes. And he told the commoners to share food and clothing with those who have none.
He's preaching a populist message.
In Jerusalem, I heard talk of a wild man who entered the king's court with a list of evils done by Herod Antipas and his family.
What should be done, Rabbi? Can we bring him in for questioning by the Sanhedrin?
If it is the same person, he does not answer to Sanhedrin. And we're not his only targets anyway. He seems to relish rejecting anything with tradition or anyone with influence. Do they say he performs miracles?
I don't know.
This meeting's adjourned.
What's this?
There he is.
Josephat, Avram.
Simon. What happened to your ear?
There's a cut on it. What's going on?
Simon. We are brothers here.
Yes, if you ever find yourself in need of anything.
Look, if this is about what's going on in the docks, I don't know what you've heard. It's just a misunderstanding, all right? It's business.
What's wrong at the docks?
I lost the lure. What's up?
Ima is sick.
Ima? What happened?
She's coughing in fits. She has no strength to do anything. And yet she does not sleep. She's spitting up blood.
I don't understand. We just saw her last...
Month. Simon, it's been a month since you have visited Ima.
You know how it's been work, and I know I haven't been a good... Wait, why are they here? No. Look, I love your Ima like she was my own.
She loves you.
But we can't take...
Ibrahim and his family are all in my home
This
already.
is really bad timing.
When is a good time to fall ill, Simon?
Guys, the answer is no.
You knew it. You always told me.
What kind of man are you?
Son of Jonah. You always told me.
You have no honor, son of
You're
Jonah.
so good punching your head.
Sucker punching me, yeah, where's the honor in that, huh?
Joseph, Ibrahim, if Simon says it's a bad time, he has good reason it's a bad time.
Thank you, Eden.
A bad time for you, not for me.
Ani.
No. If I can't be there for my own Ima when she's sick, what am I? I'm nothing. I'm not a daughter. I'm
You'll
not a
always
sister.
be
Nothing.
Avram, Jeho, please, go be with your Ima or go outside and meet some privacy.
Eden.
I'm not talking to your sister. I'm talking to my wife in my own home. And if you're not out of this room in 3 seconds, I will beat you both with my bare hands. I can't do this anymore. Please listen to me. I haven't been honest with you. There's no woman. It's not gambling. Look, a few days ago, I looked you in the eyes and I told you, I've got this. I lied.
What do you mean?
I've been fishing on Shabbat because I've had no choice. Andrew has text dates. I've got text dates. We haven't been able to keep up. I did some things I'm not proud of to fix it, and now it's gone bad. And we're in trouble.
We? What do you mean?
I'm in trouble. But we, because I need a miracle, or I can be in big trouble.
I'm not a child. Stop speaking in riddles. Tell me what's happening.
I could go to prison. We could lose the house.
What?
The cut in my ear, it's from a Roman.
Simon!
If I don't catch a ton of fish or get some help somehow, they'll arrest me.
Or kill you. They are Romans.
Yeah, so I need to go
Go
now.
where?
The fish, I gotta spend the rest of the week doing nothing but catch every fish I can and hope I can fix this somehow. So that's why we can't take your Ima. It's just not possible.
No, she has nothing to do with this. I will not let you punish her for your sins.
Eden, you can't do this alone.
Can't tell me what I can or can't do. You have had your eyes closed around here, and God is with me, even if you aren't.
Sorry.
Where is your faith?
What?
You heard me.
And faith isn't gonna get me more fish.
I'm not talking about tonight. I am talking about long before tonight. You've been different. Before it was gambling, and now it's working, and trying to do everything yourself. The popular Simon, fixing everything and charming everyone, all by yourself. And fishing on holy days without even thinking about it, with no respect for our God.
What about Pikuach Nefesh? We can break a commandment to save a life. Our lives are at stake
You
here.
don't know that because you have not pursued the Lord lately. Not like the man that I married. That is why you are stuck and you feel desperate, and now you're off to try to fix it yourself again. So go. I don't want you here tonight anyway.
I'm sorry.
I know you're sorry. I know. And I'm glad you're at least honest with me. But no more talking. Maybe God can get your attention now.
Simon! Simon! It's happened. It's happened, Simon.
What are you talking about? Did you run all the way from Jerusalem?
We're saved.
We're saved.
I saw him. with my own eyes, Simon.
Who?
It was incredible.
Andrew, who did you see?
The Lamb of God. He who takes away the sin of the world. Simon, we're standing by the Jordan, and John the Baptizer pointed at the man who was walking. Simon, are you listening?
Yeah, you're just not saying anything.
I saw the Messiah today. The man all of us, including you, have been praying for our whole lives. Don't you even care?
Was he a big man?
Big? No.
Rich?
No.
So it didn't seem he could bail us out of this debt to Rome? Maybe he was a doctor. No. So he can't help with Eden's Ima, who's now living with us, Andrew.
That's just...
So pardon me if I'm not exactly jumping out of my sandals because creepy John pointed at someone.
You're scared.
I've lost everything. Burnt every bridge.
It doesn't matter. The Romans don't matter if the Messiah has arrived. Anything is possible now. Don't you see?
That'd be nice.
Where are you going?
Go ahead, Eden. Your brothers are trying to cook. I can smell it. So you're following me now, huh?
It's a matter of accountability.
And you're here to make sure Quintus knows where to go when it's time to hurt me.
To settle your debt. I keep track of things. I do it well. Quintus knows I do it well.
You're a little... off, aren't you?
You should turn yourself in. We can accompany you.
Still pursuing every option.
There are none. You must provide information implicating the guilty fishermen or balance the books somehow.
Andrew says anything's possible.
Not mathematically.
Yeah, but what if, you know?
You'll only be subjecting your family and friends to needless anguish by prolonging the inevitable.
These are other big words.
But no one listens to me. Not like they do you. You have a singular talent.
That's something at least.
And I assume you are not headed to the authorities.
Going fishing.
Variables. People are always adding variables. Does it change anything to know you only have until sunup?
Sunup? But Shabbat's not for 3 days.
Quintus is convinced you've double-crossed him. He's coming.
I'm still going fishing.
Turn yourself in. You have no feasible plan.
I just told you my plan. If I'm going down, it will be doing what God bid me to do. Tell your boss he can come get me off the water.
We should be counting our blessings.
Adonai is great indeed.
Now, this trip could not have gone any better if we had planned every moment.
My eyes are always open and new in this land.
Not to mention the new opportunities our successes here will no doubt unlock.
We will stay here another fortnight, or until all of my research is concluded.
But Nico, surely you can conclude your research in Jerusalem if the archives are there.
The matter is decided.
I'm expecting no one.
It's important. I need to see him. I'm sorry to interrupt at this hour, Rabbi. I bring news regarding the heretic called John.
The baptizer?
Romans have taken him into custody.
How did you hear of this?
Shmuel, Rabbi. I believe he may have given the Romans his location.
We do not likely turn Jews over to the Romans. Did the Sanhedrin order this?
No, teacher.
I want to question the baptizer myself. I'll make inquiries. Thank you, Yosef.
Yes, Rabbi.
And I will discuss this with Shmuel myself. Huh?
All right, that's about halfway. So for first question, which is just general, what stood out to you and what did you notice about this one?
Peter's a mess. Simon Peter.
It was
big mess.
It was neat to see his personality come to light before sort of the Peter we see in scripture of the denier and the, all his bad behavior later on at the crucifixion. This is almost like a preview, maybe, I guess. Anyhow, the thing that I was most struck by each time was the theme of trust seemed to keep coming up. Did anybody else pick up on that?
Yes.
Trust and betrayal, obviously, which is not a Peter theme, that's a Judas theme. But I just thought from trust, I got to relationship, but there were so many people who were breaching sort of trust with each other that I wondered if that wasn't some central theme.
To add to what my mom said about, just forgot it, but we saw, I think in one of the other episodes, or when we were doing our previous study of just the general Jesus in today's media, of how professional Simon is in his field of study with his fishing, and how it was so amazing that he would just drop his career in a second and follow Jesus. He knew exactly where that sandbar was, sitting right there just after he told them to turn, so he knew where he was the entire time. Shows just how professional he is with his career, and it makes it even more astounding that he would just completely give that up in seconds. So I found that interesting. Did anyone find it kind of ironic that he got his ear cut and then he was the one who cut the high priest's ear off probably 2.5 years later? I found that kind of funny.
You mean ironic, right?
Yeah, ironic. Did anybody
I
know?
would have if I remembered.
Yeah, it's a very clever rendering. I'm not literate with the scripture stories as dad, but it's just a very clever rendering, the way they bring some things to light, obviously, but you can tell there's stuff being woven behind it. So like that was neat.
Did anybody notice or find interesting the way that Quintus treated Matthew when Matthew told him he had a dog? How much?
When he was laughing at him?
Yeah, when he was laughing at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The from what I found, the Romans, or just general in that society, the dogs were treated as New York street rats. They were nothing and no one cared about them. So I don't think anyone has a street rat as their pet.
Barbara does. Sorry.
Those are fancy rats, Sharon. Those are never.
I know.
Not like those called street rats.
To feed yourself and your family was hard enough, so no one would want anything else to load on, and that also relates to why Simon didn't want his wife's Ema, which is her mother, to tag along in their house, because it was just too much and it couldn't be supported the same way that handle a dog.
The Roman occupation was crushing, and everyone involved is under immense pressure just to try to survive.
Well, I wasn't going to mention my dog story, but since you made that comment, I will. I lived in France for a year, a long time ago, and the French father, who would have been, a young boy in the Second World War, remembers the German occupation because I was living in Rouen for a year. So they had the Germans in Normandy, and obviously there was an occupation. And he told us, a bunch of American college kids sitting around the dinner table one night, and he told us the story of how it got to the place where they killed and ate their family dog. And we were all horrified. And he's telling this over a delicious meal in the 80s, probably. And we're all just mortified that a family would come to that level of poverty and desperation. And he said we had to, because if we didn't, our neighbors would. That's how desperate everybody was.
That's really funny, Jenny, because I remember Father Bill talking about, especially during the Easter season, about having your sacrificial lamb as part of your family, right?
Right.
They would kill the lamb. I mean, the lamb would actually live amongst you. So it's kind of, to me, the same kind of relationship with that animal.
Giving up life for life, sort of.
Yeah, and it tugs at your heartstrings, even though, I don't know. I'm trying to finish the thought in a
sort of a grapes of wrath
respectful way. Yes, I mean it's I can tell you right now. I know you all don't know me very well, but I am a very, very devout animal lover. I don't eat any meat. I just eat fish, which is meat, but I eat fish, but I just can't bring myself to eat anything that I can stare in the face and talk to and love, It's just, when I hear these stories, it really tugs at my heart. And I understand when people have to make that decision, it's a really, really hard decision to make.
I would expect in those times they knew not to get too attached to animals. Even if they had the animal in their house, they knew they were going to sacrifice it. It wouldn't pay to get too attached to it. So to have a dog for a pet would seem ridiculous.
Yes, we also raised lambs when I was Will's age in a country home with my mom, and we were told not to attach or give names. So we named them Mint and Jelly.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
But when you tend to something and you take care of it, tell me how you can't get attached.
Oh, it's
that's
so
my
hard.
point.
It takes away our humanity when we put those barriers up to sort of regard it as, I don't know, it for a purpose. When we love conditionally, or we appreciate for that thing's purpose to us, then it takes away the humanity, and it takes away, like you're saying, the more natural and stronger bond of a true bond between you and whatever you're caring for.
Well, you can see how getting so attached to something completely removes God. Simon got so attached to his fishing, to his career, that he removed his wife. He removed the needs of his wife and I guess his family and his brothers. He removed all of that, and greed had completely taken over him with it. And he had removing God from it, and his only care was, well, I mean, he had dug himself into the own mess. So of course his only care is going to be to get out of it. But in that, he's completely removed God and any source of trust or faith or consideration for anyone else.
He put all his faith in himself.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, that is a side of Peter that I've not explored or thought much of. I was seeing him as the backpedaler and the escapist, wanting just an easy way out, like when he makes the denials that are so infamous in the Gospels and gets confronted with that, what an excuse maker he is. So that's a neat way to look at it, William. That synthesizes a lot more of the video for me than I was thinking.
So sorry, you go.
When I was watching it, all I can think about is the change in Matthew and in Simon, how different they ended up and the way they started out. It's so striking.
So you might not even have been able to hear it. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, it's Piku Nefesh. He was talking to his wife after he had said, I'm sorry I lied. What about Piku Nefesh? And that is how it's pronounced. And he says it right after it, we can break a command to save a life. And from what I've read, that is kind of like a principle or a concept in the Jewish faith, or at least at that time, where you could break a command or a commandment. So I don't think it's directly from the Bible or something of general Jewish law. You could break it, which in his case, I guess would be fishing on Shabbat or turning in his fellow Jews, something like that, to save a life. But it's clearly supposed to be used in much more of a direct concept. Like, for example, we don't have this, but if you got pulled over for breaking the speed limit when you're trying to go see your dying mother or save your mother from dying going to the hospital, you're not going to be as mad. If you're trying to speed, you're speeding and get pulled over because you're speeding to work because you could run out of money in a month if you don't get to work on time, they're not going to listen to you. So that's what Simon's doing with this, is he's twisting it around and changing it to conform and to try to justify his reasoning when it doesn't, and it doesn't work. Because he's saying we could possibly die in 3 weeks in prison because of what I've done. So this could possibly apply when it really doesn't. That's what that was when he was referring to it, is it's the principle of breaking the command to save a life. But he completely twisted it around. Did anyone notice when they're talking about John the Baptist with the group of Pharisees, how Nicodemus did not hate it at all and wasn't as all the other Pharisees were like disgusted at it, and they were talking about it very hastily, like they didn't like it, whereas he was curious to it.
Yeah.
I wondered if maybe he thought John the Baptist had healed Mary, because he was asking if he did miracles.
I see that now. I didn't think about that. And he keeps talking about his research that he wants to continue.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I couldn't see anything like that.
I think his eyes are opening up. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it very interesting how later they call him a heretic, how they see him as almost like blasphemy, and they hate him, and it's like this disgusting thing. And Nicodemus is just sitting there intrigued. He's sitting there intrigued and wants to know more. He's curious about it in a good way, and he has no opposition or hatred towards John the Baptist, as they all do. And then later, again, when he comes to the door, when he says John the heretic has been arrested, has been taken into custody, Nicodemus, to me, I saw it almost as he was troubled. He was almost troubled and definitely had concern. And then was definitely slightly disappointed when he learned that Shmuel had turned him in. So clearly he wants to know more from John the Baptist, and he doesn't think he's a heretic. He doesn't think he's breaking Jewish law. And what I found interesting is when all the other Pharisees see him justifiably breaking Jewish law, that they can justify it to the Romans to arrest him, the Nicodemus is almost angry with that, saying, this isn't a light thing you've just done. It's meaning that what Nicodemus thinks he's done isn't bad at all. So, and I think that also points to Nicodemus wanting more and relating into the past of him wanting more, thinking there's something more, maybe they're not on the right path. So I found that interesting.
The Jewish leaders did not understand baptism, and they didn't approve of it because it wasn't in Jewish law. And this is something new. Nicodemus was curious about it.
He was very open to a lot of this.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sharon. He was probably more open than any of the other Jewish leaders that were presented in this whole series.
Yeah. Well, maybe God was showing him the way.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Well, that makes me realize that if the other Pharisees who had to have been realizing this should have called him out on it to the Sanhedrin or the high priest, that he's not upholding Jewish law. But of
Yeah.
course, I don't think they'd ever do that because they're too scared of the hierarchy.
Mhm.
Well, maybe too, they were touched by God as well. And maybe a lesser way. And when I say lesser way, I'm talking about maybe Nicodemus was pushed to a higher level of response to God's calling.
Mhm.
And he was supported by the others in a lesser way, but not to mean that, you know, God's push was lesser to them, but just as a support mechanism for him to continue what he needed to do. So
He's been opening up all along.
Mhm.
You know, you just see it get more and more.
I think my favorite part is the creepy John. I think that was pretty funny. Creepy John points at someone. What does that mean? To me, that shows that the Jews or the Jewish community definitely had some almost like childish nicknames or name calling for certain people. And to me, that shows that they kind of ostracized John the Baptist and pushed him away from regular society, maybe because his teachings were too radical or different. But to me, that shows that they necessarily didn't think of John the Baptist as the best, but that's just as I see it.
Yeah, he's out in the wilderness eating bugs.
no, I get what you're saying, Will. I get that same impression. They almost treat him like he's some, like Sharon said, he's out in the wilderness eating bugs, like some wild man who has no direction and is just out there preaching like he's out of his mind type of person.
Maybe they're a little afraid.
Exactly. That was my take on it.
Did you notice when Andrew had his hands on Simon's neck or on his shoulders, kind of cradling his head, saying, we're fine now, we're free. God can take care of it. It was I think he said we're saved, but it's all taken care of, we're fine. To me, I can look back and think that that's God just staring me in the face, staring me in the eyes, saying, it's taken care of, you're free, you're fine, I got it. And we just turn around and walk away. To me, that's I've done that so many times where God has stared me directly in the face and I've seen it and he said, you're good, you're fine, I can take care of this. And we just turn around and we walk away like Simon did. So I saw that. It's pretty cool. And then we continue to notice how at the dinner, when Nicodemus wants to continue to stay and find out more, his wife continues to hinder him, as she did in 2 episodes ago. She was very unpleased by him praying and wanting to know more, and she completely suppressed that.
She's fighting him.
Yeah.
I think she's of the old tradition. She doesn't have the open mind that Nicodemus does.
She's a typical political wife.
Yeah. I think she likes the status. You're right, Cindy. I think she likes the status. But Nicodemus sees more in what's being unfolded right in front of his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
She just doesn't understand it. She's sort of set in her ways, or set on her path of promoting him and his career, so to speak.
Yeah.
So the fact that he is kind of veering off this or pursuing his own agenda is rattled her.
Yeah, she doesn't want any change.
Yeah, and she doesn't want her little apple cart upset, her wonderful glitter in her hair and all that other stuff she's been doing.
Yes.
She doesn't want that to go away. So,
well, you can tell she enjoys it a lot.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And a nice dinner.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how Quintus just continues to use Matthew for his dirty work when Matthew's just a complete fool. Like when Matthew was spying on Andrew behind the palm fronds, just walking back and forth. Like I'm just sitting here doing nothing. That was funny.
Okay, nobody's here.
Yeah.
He was not James Bond, was he?
No.
He looks out of place everywhere he goes.
He does, yeah.
I don't think that's
He
what
is.
you meant when you said in disguise.
He is out of place everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
With
because
shoes, with a rope.
He wears the same outfit. Remember back to that episode where his closet had the same thing?
Yes.
Over and over again. So he wears the same thing, and he's just got those big eyes that just kind of catch your attention, and so he can't hide. He doesn't look like anybody else. So when a guy says go in disguise, I mean, how's he going to disguise? He doesn't have any clothes he can wear other than what he's already got.
He has the palm fronds.
Yeah, just a little bit though.
Maybe he should pull his dog in front of him or something.
Well, I feel really bad for him because when I remember the Shabbat dinner and he shared alone with his dog.
True.
I don't think he remains the fool much longer. I've seen this whole series, so
yeah.
I'm probably giving it away a little bit for those you who haven't. But
he becomes one of the disciples.
He definitely opens those big eyes of his a little more and learns what really the truth is.
Mm-hmm.
He's hated by the Jews and the Romans. Yeah.
And he knows it.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of what makes him sad, which is rightfully so. He doesn't have a place anywhere.
Right. Well, of course he's hated by the Romans. He's a Jew. And then, of course, his family hate him because he's working against them.
Right.
He's not helping them. So he shouldn't expect them to accept him.
Well, I think it really showed just how much cast outs they were.
Yeah.
How much pushed away from normal society. And it's interesting. I mean, I think it makes sense, but also not, where Quintus' assistant was, if Quintus to me is portrayed in the light that they really are portraying him, he could kill the assistant if he wanted to. Yet the assistant is so bold as to draw a sword when Matthew says, I'm worse than the Romans. And then puts it back when he corrects him, but he already knows that that's true. He already knows that the Romans are hated. So it's interesting that he's so bold to do that when he knows how much power Quintus has.
But there seems to be something a little off with him.
Yeah, I always thought he was on the spectrum when I watched this.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, there was something a little different about him, and he had no fear about confronting these folks and just totally ignored their perceived, like, I don't know, essence or whatever, their reign or whatever they were trying to run across to everybody else. He just seemed totally ignorant to that, and on purpose ignorant to that, like to the point where you wonder, why would you risk your life, even though he probably didn't think of it that way. So I admire him for that, if that was an intentional thing, but I agree with you, Sharon. I don't think it was intentional. I think something else was going on.
So I have a little bit of information that did the Romans hire Matthew to spy on Peter? The answer is we have no record of this in the Gospels. All we know is that Matthew did collect taxes somewhere in the region of Galilee where Peter and Andrew lived, but we don't know if they had any contact or knew each other before Jesus called them together. So that's just a note.
And there's no evidence that he was weird.
I don't think there was any evidence of Quintus either. I think that was documented.
Didn't Bill explain that to us, that was kind of a common name in the Romans, but even though he's not mentioned in the
Go by numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Quintus was added by Dallas Jenkins, who made The Chosen. At least that's what I learned from reading and looking at the extra videos that he posted about making this series, that there was no documented evidence of Quintus anywhere, that they added it for like, you know, to fill in the story or help join the story. So, I mean, you're free to look at it yourself and come up with your own determinations, but that was what I determined after listening to that particular series of documentary on filming the series. So just FYI, I think Quintus was just an extra added in. He may have been a representation of another Roman figure in history, but Quintus, as we see him on the screen, is not really part of the story historically.
It helps show the organization of the Roman Empire, how organized they were.
Yes.
Everyone had a job to do and they did it.
I agree with you, Jay. I think that's what the intent was from Dallas. Yeah.
I have a thing to read from one of the viewing guides that you'll find interesting. One of the major themes of this episode is the debt that could not be paid. We cannot get out of our sin debt by our own clever scheming and working. Even the Pharisees, who kept the law of God zealously, are called snakes by John the Baptist. Righteousness can only ever be a gift. How does this speak to the teaching that Jesus gave on the shore when he says, "Many different kinds of fish will be gathered. The angels of God will separate the evil from the righteous." Read this parable, Matthew 13:47-49. And I have that here. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up onto the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets and threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So that was interesting how, even though the Pharisees deny Jesus, they are still brought up as fish of God, which is interesting to me. That relates that they're still included, even though they didn't. I mean, obviously they're not believing in Jesus Christ, so they're not going to have salvation. But it was interesting to me that they're still grouped together and then picked out. And then it really emphasizes the main theme of that Simon has brought himself into this pit, into this downfall, and he's trying to get out only by his own accord.
That's what his wife said to him.
Yeah.
So did you notice when the Pharisees refers to John as a heretic, and Nico's almost confused in that? He almost doesn't know who he's talking about. He has to confirm. He asked John the Baptist. He confirms it because he almost doesn't know if that's the same guy he's talking about, which clearly is continuing and strengthening the fact that he definitely did not think he was a heretic. And so after he learned that, Shmuel, interesting name, I guess, Shmuel kind of snitched on John the Baptist or brought him before the Romans. He was very quick to make sure that he said, I'll inquire about that, or I want to talk to John myself and talk to Shmuel myself. He made sure to tell the other Pharisee that I was talking to, he said, I'll do that myself. I'll take care of that myself.
Right.
Which means he definitely doesn't want the other Pharisees talking or going about anything by themselves, because he already thinks or knows or feels that them doing that stuff behind his back and not checking with him is bad, with turning John in. So.
I agree.
So how has your perspective changed or grown from Jesus from this episode?
We didn't get to the end, so we haven't actually seen Jesus, have we?
No.
Yeah, you said Jesus. I thought you meant Peter. For me, that what we saw tonight was very illuminating as to the person of Peter and sort of how the one we know in the Gospels kind of got his reputation or his personality before that.
That is all I have. That is,
Well, William, you brought it right up to
That's all.
closing.
that is the end of the bulleted list.
You did great.
Good.
You did a fantastic job.
Fabulous.
did.
I'm looking,
Yes.
yes, I'm looking forward to your sermon.
Your,
I
your
will
timing
record
is
that.
great, son. Your
I'll
timing.
record that sermon personally and play it back all the time, weekly, if not more often.
Well, stay tuned. Hanover County is 5 days, so he is home on paid leave, and then he'll go back Monday, provided he feels well. I'm assuming the church protocol and the diocesan way of handling all this will be very different. So we'll all pray, but stay tuned for some announcements coming out on Friday.